Om Bhurбhuvasvaham Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayantam. So, Saram everyone, continue our videos on our beloved Swami Shri Sathya Sai. And let us speak about what actually Sathya Sai told us about Jesus the Christ. And in one of my books, actually, the title of the book is Sathya Sai Baba, Supernatural Experience and Divine Transformation, volume number 3. And the chapter number 14, the title of this chapter is Sathya Sai Baba on the life of Jesus Christ in India. Well, actually in the end of 19th century and 20th century, 21st century, quite many people discuss a few extraordinary questions, very unusual questions about Jesus the Christ. And one of them was he a family person, and was Mary Magdalene, for example, his wife or not? And another question is it possible that Jesus the Christ spent something like 15 years in India learning meditation and philosophy from different Vedic, Jain, and Buddhist teachers? In the very beginning, the first guy who started this discussion in the end of 19th century was one Russian journalist. His name was Nicholas Notovich, and he published a famous book on this topic. And later on, quite many both Indian and Russian mystics, they also told us about this point. And for example, Nicholas Roerich and also Paramahamsa Yogananda and Swami Abhedananda, so like many spiritual leaders, they actually even in the first half of 20th century spoke about that, yes, really, we have glimpses of information that Jesus spent really more than 10 years, potentially 15 years in India. And actually, because philosophy, Sathya Sai philosophy, was about unity of all religions, so that's the reason why he spoke about Jesus the Christ quite a lot. And we have a few dozens of divine discourses given by Sathya Sai, and actually about Jesus' life, biography, and spiritual pathway. And that's also a very uneasy question for quite many Christians. In this lifetime I am Christian, though I am learning Vedic and Buddhist philosophy. And for the many Christians, the picture of Jesus goes like that. He is a perfect divine teacher who was born, and then he started his ministry something like after he reached the 30-year-old of his age. And it's that's like the picture. He was perfect from the very beginning. He was born already completely divine personality, master. And then when he became 30 years old, he started his ministry. He became a spiritual teacher. But the question is, why not to start in the age of 20 or 25? Why wait till the age 30, 31? And of course, for many Christians, and I think that's wrong, actually, to speak about transformation or personal self-development of Jesus, it's like not good, because then we put down Jesus' greatness. That's totally wrong. For example, Buddha, yeah, he was born as a like son of the king for the royal parents, and in the age of 29, Buddha, now I'm speaking about Buddha, he started his spiritual journey, and according to the classical sources, in the age of 35, Buddha experienced something which we call enlightenment, and then he started his community, and all that lectures, just his congregation of his disciples. But no Buddhist approach this as bad information about Buddha. Buddha was potentially perfect from the very beginning, but then he was prince with a family, 3 palaces, summertime, wintertime, rain season palace with sport games and very good education. And then he started to practice meditation, Buddha, after the age 29. And he became great master. Then the question is why we so scared about speaking about spiritual pathway and a transformation of Jesus Christ. And the point, Sathya Sai teaching about Jesus Christ is exactly that. Yes, Jesus Christ was very special incarnation, very special global, like master for the humankind. But at the same time, in the very beginning of his life, when he was a child, a teenager, he was potentially a great master. But then he went through certain steps and stages of spiritual evolution. Then he became enlightened, and then he came back to Palestine and started his ministry there, communicating with his disciples, and he actually created community of congregation of his disciples, as we know from New Testament itself. And for me as a Christian, it's totally okay to think about spiritual transformation of the Jesus. Why not, actually? But of course we have to admit that New Testament is silent about this possibility that Jesus spent something like 10 or maybe 15 years in India learning philosophy and meditation. Why? Jesus' disciples were not enthusiastic to speak about this part of the life of the Master. I have no idea. Maybe Jesus himself, maybe his choice was to keep this information as secret from his disciples. That's quite possible. But also another possibility is that very close circle of his disciples knew about his years in India. But because of Jesus' instruction, maybe they just avoided to distribute, to discuss this information because of some cultural reasons as well. Because for the Palestine, first century Palestine, and for the people of that part of the world, it could be really challenging to think about Jesus as great spiritual master if they know that he actually got his spiritual education somewhere far away in India, etc. So there are many reasons why in New Testament we don't have exactly this information. And of course, let's speak about Sathya Sai message about Jesus. And if you perceive Sathya Sai Baba as ordinary person, for example, then the question arises: how can he know all the secret details of the life of Jesus Christ and the features of his spiritual path? However, if you realize that Sathya Sai Baba is the divine incarnation himself, then his stories about the inner spiritual quest of Jesus Christ and his life path become precious. And actually, the point is that if we if we understood that Sathya Sai himself is the divine incarnation, then he is the most reliable source of this information. Of course, from different actually sources, we can imagine that we can know that Jesus spent like 15 years in India. We can get this information potentially from different sources, but to know how Jesus meditated, his spiritual realizations, breakthrough experiences, that's just impossible because it's inside his consciousness of Jesus. But who can clarify us inner world of Jesus? Of course, only Sathya Sai as the divine incarnation. That's the reason why Sathya Sai divine discourses, especially that few dozens of his discourses dedicated to Jesus Christ, especially important because they describe step by step this transformation, or we can say transformational evolution of Jesus from potentially divine teenager, to the great spiritual master who was able to transform actually humanity. So that's inner transformation. Wow, how can we know? Exactly from Sathya Sai discourses. And actually here, Sathya Sai, he is giving us very important information about certain three steps in that Jesus evolution, and it's amazing and very important. And I think it's especially very important for Christian because that gives us chance to understand that the sources of Christian religion and Christian philosophy is not only Old Testament teachings or Jerusalem temple mysteries, but also Buddhist and Vedic philosophy as well. So that's really, of course, for somebody challenging, but I think it's very important and very highly important information for everyone, but for Christians, I think especially.
Om Bhurбhuvah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayantam